From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome to the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. That's me, and I'm joined by Ticats head coach Orlondo Steinauer each week for updates, insights into the 2021 Ticats. Coach, we've been doing this for a couple weeks now, a couple months, I guess. Looking forward each week to our show, and especially as we get closer to playoffs and how things are starting to shape up here.
No, absolutely. It's always good to see you and talk a little bit of ball.
Well, we're coming off obviously a tough game after what was a really impressive month of football for your team. What was different? What changed in the performance in Toronto from some of these previous weeks?
I just think our execution was obviously lower, and we didn't capitalize, and they did a better job of executing. I thought that they, for the most part, controlled the field position. They did a heck of a job of punting the ball and also, making field goals. I thought we missed some opportunities early to, maybe change the direction of the game. But, it just, the momentum never really swung back. It didn't seem so. The positive is that you'd be hard pressed to turn the tape on and say we didn't play hard. I thought this football team, while never perfect, it's rare that you turn it on and don't see effort. The name of the game is always going to be execution, and that's where we'll continue to harp and where we will get better.
I know you're always going to look at yourself, the man in the mirror first, but what about the elements in that game, especially early on from an onlooker? I think it would be easy to say that played some part in it. What's your take on that?
Yeah, and I think, obviously the weather's the same for both teams. And it was, for the most part, it was a relatively calm night. The wind was swirling above us a little bit. I thought the field was in better condition than it basically looked. I thought of course, I didn't run any routes or try to make any tackles or cuts out there, but I didn't hear a lot of complaining. So I thought that the field was in good shape. And the bottom line is we got beat in 3 phases. And so when that happens, the chances of winning are really low.
Well, so now for a chance at the Grey Cup, you effectively have to repeat that game back in Toronto against the Argonauts. That'd be 3 weekends from now, December 4th. What do you take away about that game from that team that, I don't know, that you can store away? What changed in your idea of who Toronto is after that night?
I just say that they earned the bye. That's why that they're going to be watching, 2 other teams play while they rest. They earned that, and they were the best team up to this point in our division. And how they got it done was different each time we played them as specifically. And,
yeah,
they did enough in other games to put themselves in that position. So full credit to them, but this is our journey. I'm focused on our football team and putting our best foot forward. And that basically is, watching the film here today, going out to practice tomorrow with a purpose, and ultimately to play on Saturday.
We had Bakari Grant, a nice player who I know you respect greatly, who I love and respect. Bakari joined us on the postgame show with Louis B and Courtney Steven. And he was, in a wildly or a funny way, couldn't have been more positive about the game. And his take was there was obvious corrections that can be made. And I suppose the opposite would be a game where you lost, you play your absolute best football, and you don't really know what to say about that. Your best wasn't good enough. Bakari's take was, it's obvious. You just make the changes that jump off the film and do the things that you've done right previously that you missed out on this game. When you flipped on the film today, obviously, I'm sure you've watched it for hours and hours before meeting with the team, but what jumped out? You said execution. What's missing that just has to show up this week against Sask?
Well, when you have opportunities for explosions on offense, we got to make them. We had some drops out there that are uncharacteristic that would keep drives alive, that keeps their offense off the field. It swings the field. And special teams wise, we got to be better in the return game. They did an outstanding job of punting the ball. The placement was pretty good. And so we got to find a way, as you know, to try to get a first down or two on those returns, get 10, 20 yards or bigger. And then finally, every point is important. And when we have an opportunity to make field goals, we got to do that. And then defensively, I think we can be better tacklers. Their game plan was out in front of us and they executed it well. I thought we did a decent job of containing explosions and those type of things, but we need to be better open field tacklers to put them in some different situations. So again, I spoke there on all three phases, and we've got to be better.
Yeah. From my playing career, I can remember all sorts of different sort of team personalities. I'm sure from your playing career, you can certainly remember that. And I'm sure you have your own perspective from different teams from a coaching career. But I mean, football is an incredible sport. It's so many different people's personalities, different players. There's more variety in a football locker room than any other sport, hands down. And it's all those personalities add together to make this team energy. And sometimes I feel like after a loss at this point in a season, at this junction here, that energy, really shows up, whether it's positive, negative, indifferent, but you really get to see what a team is all about. From your perspective, what's that energy? What's the attitude and the feeling, the energy of this team this year?
I think it's been ongoing. I think it's been ever changing. The one thing that's consistent is we've been able to, really not get too high or too low, kind of be in the median, to be honest with you. I feel like that's a credit to the leadership in the locker room. I feel like, but there's also a nice element, a level of seriousness where, you can't stay mad forever, right? There's got to be a breaking point when you let things go, but there also can't be, just a sense of relaxation and that it's just going to go away. We're always going to address the elephant in the room, and, that's mainly addressed by the players. They know that there was a missed opportunity, and that's what it is. But, what's the lesson that we're taking from it? We can't do anything about the score. We can't do anything about the past. We can only move forward. So we just have to learn from that. And, the bottom line is, the elimination games are coming, and that's when you have to be hitting your stride. And so we won't dwell on it. We won't brush anything under the rug either. We're going to address challenges hard.
Next game, you got Sask, who's for the longest time was sort of battling with Calgary to sort of get the West figured out. It's all settled now. They've got their playoff spot locked. For your team, this game means either a trip to Montreal or a home game in Tim Hortons Field. What is your message to the team in this situation where you possibly don't really know what you're going to be getting from an opponent, but you know how much this game means to you? It means to your guys.
Basically, it's, we control our own destiny here of how it's going to turn out. So, we know the results of either one, but there's never a time when we prepare for practice or we prepare for a game to think that we might lose. Like, we're just not built that way. Doesn't mean it always happens that you win, but the mindset never enters in. Of course, you frame the scenario and whatnot, but we've put ourselves in this situation. So it's up to us to find a way to, quote unquote, get out, if you will. But there's no added stress put on it. To not speak on it would probably be a little irresponsible, but everybody kind of knows, but we don't make it a big deal about it, because it doesn't matter. If you execute the way we executed, the outcome is usually inevitable.
It feels like years. It's been months since the Ticats went out to Sask at the beginning of this season. We've been saying for the last month that was a different Ticat team, and it really was. That we weren't really even they weren't even close to the offensive production that we've seen over the past month of football. But that was especially offensively one of the most difficult games for the Ticats this year. You spoke to some of the missed big plays early on in Toronto. What are the changes that you got to see from your offensive production this week against Sask?
It's got to be more efficient. It's really not, you don't have to get fancy with it, right? It's always about protecting the quarterback, getting after the quarterback. You got to get efficient play from the quarterback. The receivers got to catch the ball. And I think we can probably try to run it a little bit, and we did, though. I thought we had a good combination, but the bottom line is you have to score points. And so that's what the offense is. But the thing is Sask is like, they're a better defense than the first time we faced them too. They have their identity and they've settled in. So you study your opponent, but you focus on yourself. That's called game planning. So, they're an aggressive, big, physical team. You can see it on tape, and, I'm actually just looking forward to, how we play.
Yeah. To watching it happen. I am also excited to being up there. It's this Saturday at 4 p.m. for the last game of the regular season for the Ticats. Coach, I appreciate it. You're endlessly focused on your own guys and your own team. It's good. I appreciated it as a player, and it's good to see now as well. So looking forward to how the team comes out there on Saturday.
Awesome. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Coach.
The Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. Like, subscribe, and find out what Coach is thinking every Tuesday.